And welcome to a somber, sad, depressing. You have anything, Kevin, to add to that? Dreary. Yeah, beautiful. I think that's exactly what Brad probably told him in the locker room yesterday after half. Uh, so another edition of Keeping It Orange and Blue, the Illini roller coaster. And as always, I'm Ryan. That's Kevin. Would have been a lot, more, I think, fun, obviously, to be talking about a win streak, heading to the home game with Hunter Dickinson coming to Champaign, a place that he's never won, a place Jawan Howard's never won.
Jawan won there plenty in college. Let's be real.
Yeah, but I mean, as a coach, anywho, with a chance for Illinois maybe to share the Big Ten title, it was possible. If Wisconsin beat Purdue, it would have been that Illinois would have been playing for a Big Ten share on Sunday, but they didn't. And, Kev, so obviously we're going to start out with this. Many other things we're going to talk about. Too many three-pointers, is that a thing? Because, it's an Illinois thing. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, obviously, the matchup with Michigan, and then we're going to talk Big Ten seeding scenarios and how that looks right now and what's at stake for Illinois, who you're wanting to root for this week, because Illinois is, I looked it up, the odds of a 7 and an 8 seed are the same, 22%, 21% for a 9 seed. So really those are the two likeliest destinations, and a couple things need to happen for Illinois to be the 7 seed. And then we'll give our final thoughts and anything else you want to talk about, Kev. But let's start off with the game yesterday. Your initial reaction and thoughts now that you've had a day to reflect from Ohio State.
Worst game of the year? You got
Missouri. I think Missouri. But go ahead. It's your thoughts. But off the top of my head, it's Missouri for me. But, yeah, go ahead.
Missouri is a tournament team. Missouri.
You were down by 36. That's the only reason I said it.
Yeah. And I also look at the season as like two halves of the season. I look at, now granted, you had 2 critical wins. Thank God we got them against Texas and UCLA earlier in the season, where we were running the style. We had Sky Clark. But I really look at like the precipice of like post Northwestern game, by far and away the worst game since post first Northwestern game. Man, and I have been the guy that has gone to bat for this team when it comes to like effort. And I know a lot of, they're just not playing hard. I'm like, that's not what it is, man. And like, there were some things on Sunday that, I saw some lack of effort. And so when you come into this game, there are a couple things that Illinois really needed to do, I think, to be able to win this game. And if you listen to Mike LaTulip on Warner's podcast, man, it's really pretty good. And I don't have a problem plugging the other Illinois guys. He talks about.
I will say that you do that here, but not a lot of other places do that, Kev. So. And this is our show, but I am the one organizing all this. So the fact that I allow that shows, I think, a lot about me. So especially with how I'm treated. So I'm cool with you doing that. But I would like to see other Illini people promote other Illini things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those things that's, if I get the information from somewhere else, I don't have a problem sharing it. And LaTulip talks about it, is that, we have this problem where we allow guys to start and get going. And we did that with Thornton. Thornton started and gotten going. And we've had a lot of guys have really great career days. Nobody had a career day against us on Sunday, but they got hot and they started going. And then so really, if they were going to start making shots from the perimeter and their 15-foot mid-range and all that stuff, what we really needed was be able to effectively beat them on the inside with no Zed Key. And we needed Dane to do that. And he was – I love Dane. I love what he brings. He's got such a unique skill set, but he was bad on Sunday. And not just bad from a, I felt he needed to get the ball and go make a move. He would get the ball and wait, and then a double would come, and he's got to adjust to that. That's okay. That can happen. But it was more so like we had a situation a couple times where a guy was getting beat off the dribble and going, and he's just standing in the paint on defense, not reacting, not coming over for some help deep, potentially picking up a block, just lackadaisical getting down the floor. That's a problem, but that's a problem that can be fixed. And one of the things is it's funny is it's not going to resonate as the worst loss on the resume from a net standpoint. Like I think Ohio State's not far behind Penn State, and the fact we did that game on the road, it's Penn State at home is probably still the worst loss for the resume build. But and Jay Wright said some things on the broadcast that I think are really true about Illinois is that Illinois shoots a lot of threes, and teams have to respect that. But the fact is we're shooting a conference worst 29% from three. And so what we're seeing is teams are closing out on us at three, but they're not closing out on us with aggressive vigor. And so guys don't necessarily have the ability to drive like we should. We should have open driving lanes. And you saw it in the second half against Northwestern. We started making some threes, and driving lanes really opened for Terrence. Terrence got downhill, got to the bucket, got some lay-ins, and he can do that. I was just, we had an opportunity right there to take the game. I'm a little frustrated with early in the game. We have an opportunity to I think we're going to go up 7-0 early, possibly with a big steal and a dunk.
Hawkins misses a layup.
And I just don't get like how, the next time he gets a steal, he crams it on a dude. Like, go cram that dude. Like, go attack the rim with vigor with two hands and see. And the likelihood of a block happening and no foul happening with going up with two hands. And that wasn't necessarily the game. I thought, overall, probably Coleman was our best player on Sunday. It's just a frustrating loss. Ty Rodgers said afterwards they took him lightly. Well, that gives me a little bit of hope that they can rebound and that they can adjust. And but man, it was one of those things. I was really confident that we'd finish the season in the last 5, 4-1 with the loss coming at Purdue. Thursday's going to tell us a lot about who these guys are. Right, Michigan's playing well. They're getting a lot of contributions from Buffkin. Buffkin's looking like an NBA draft pick. Dickinson's going to cause some problems for us because it was just his pure size. 7'1". His ability to shoot is going to draw Dane away from the basket a little bit. Going to put him in some uncomfortable situations and how we handle the drop coverage. But we'll see. We'll see who this team is and what kind of energy and what kind of vigor they come out with. But there's flaws that have plagued this team all year and will continue to plague this team. And there's a couple of ways they can overcome it. Is one, they can just shoot better. I do believe the talent of this team is better shooting than the whole. I don't believe this is a 29% 3-point shooting team. But they got to, at some point in time, you got to prove it, or I just look like an idiot. And then the other aspect of it is we don't have a true facilitator point guard, right? There are a couple times where, and this is not a knock on Jaden Epps. He's really being asked to play out of position by being the point guard on this team. He is by nature an off guard. He is more of a Trent Frazier style, and Trent had to adjust to playing point in his time at Illinois, but it was never really his strength. He was kind of at his best when he was just a pure scorer. So those two things will continue to plague us, and hopefully they can look at the film. Jaden's got the opportunity when he drives to make some kicks and make some dishes, get some guys some better open looks, and some guys can make some shots. Then it starts to materialize, starts to generate some momentum. But I was really frustrated with Sunday. It was the worst loss in my opinion from an effort standpoint. Yeah, it was the worst loss since Missouri. I was madder about Missouri because I hate those pricks, but this one did not sit well with me.
Yeah, and a big question is here, too, besides the way too many threes, and I'll delve into my opinion on that, is why are we seeing so much up and down, effort and consistency of like you either have it or you're not. You're either a dog or you're not. You care or you don't. It's not, well, we beat Northwestern and, we're just – Ohio State sucks. So we're just going to not really care about this game. When, Hawkins – I was wanting to listen to the post-game pressers from the guys to hear what they were saying. And they were well aware what they had at stake. They knew that they needed to win against Ohio State to give themselves a chance this week to play for a Big Ten. So usually, teams, and you'll hear coaches, maybe it's coach speak, say, we talk about those things. Well, the players they knew. So, so it's been talked about, and I think they know a lot more than they're ever going to say, that they pay attention to social media. Like look at Hunter Dickinson does his own podcast. These guys are on social media. They know what we're all saying. They know what these shows are saying. But to me, it's like doesn't that mean you should be ready to go? You know what I mean? Like it's if every team acted that way, then I would give them they're young baloney. But it's like there's a bunch of teams out here that have young players on their team. There's a bunch of teams that are 19 to 21 years old, maybe only one or two seniors on your team. That isn't an excuse. So my real big gripe is why is this a consistent problem? Because you look at it, played bad, it wasn't really a great first half against Penn State in Happy Valley. Really good effort against Indiana, deserved to win the game. Okay. Really bad effort against Northwestern at home, a game you think you'd be up for, right, at home against a ranked Northwestern team. All right, so you're definitely going to come to Ohio State, right, and you're going to be ready to go. You're going to be revved up. You're a competitor. Like you have something to prove, right? They don't come out that way. So my question is, why has this been such a consistent problem? But Kevin, me and you agree on this. This ain't on Brad Underwood. You know what I mean? Like to me, if your coach has to make you be ready, then you aren't that guy to begin with. And Coleman Hawkins said that much in his post game.
Good. Bad teams have no leader. Good teams are led by a coach or the manager or whatever you want. And this applies to work. This applies to everything in life. So good teams, the leader, the manager leads. Great teams are led within, and
this is a good team. I'll say that.
I think they are a good team. But
yeah. Are you saying you're putting it on Brad?
No. What I'm saying is that we have a couple guys who are our two main bucket getters. They're our leading scorers. They're the guys that you need a bucket. You go to Matt Meyer and Terrence Shannon. Both guys are, in their fourth year of college basketball. Meyer might be in his fifth.
Yeah, Meyer's in his fifth, but Terrence they're both seniors. One's just a fifth-year senior.
Right. I harken back. Like, I don't remember. I remember us recruiting Terrence Shannon. I really wanted him. I really liked his game. I liked his length. I liked his athleticism. Frankly, I worried about his shooting ability, and he's proven in college he's a better shooter than I gave him credit for. I don't know if he was an alpha. I don't know if he was the guy on his high school team, right? Matt Meyer was never the guy at Baylor. Terrence was never the guy at Texas Tech. Coleman Hawkins has never been the guy on this team. I frankly think he could be, honestly. I mean, I think he's been the most consistent performer we've seen last month.
I think the reins are there for him if he wants to grab them, but
right.
He doesn't. I don't think he has it in him to do it right now.
Well, yeah, and I think that he's a very demonstrative guy. We all see it. We all get frustrated with it from a fan's perspective, like with his demonstrativeness. And I imagine it's probably the same way in a practice in-house. This team's just missing. They're just missing an alpha, right? They're just missing a guy that is the guy in the locker room, in the huddle, And I frankly think it can be Jaden Epps, man. And I know that kid has struggled the past couple of games. I hope he hears this, man. I'm a big believer in him. I think it can be him. I don't know if it can be him this year, but they're missing that internal guy to hey, listen, this is my freaking team. Put my arms around you. And they had it a little bit last year with Trent and DeMonte. I mean, Kofi's never really been that guy. He's a fun, jovial guy. Everybody loved him, but he wasn't really that guy.
I personally think by their junior year, Sincere Harris is going to be that guy.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, do you see that guy? He just – and I'm going to be honest, man. He's been the better player over Jaden Epps the last two games. I mean –
last two games. But Jaden was really good against Minnesota.
Yeah, but I mean just Sincere Harris, man, when he's had 7 or 8 games this year that he's helped, just rejuvenate the team.
The games against Texas, UCLA, and Northwestern, he was huge. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, even against Wisconsin when they were 0-3 at home, what he was doing to Chucky Hepburn. Like, he turned him over 3 straight possessions. He got 2 breakaway steal layups to help rejuvenate the crowd and get the lead back up. I mean, he just can be so what he does for it. But you see the competitive drive in him. Yeah, like, to me, he's an alpha, but he is an alpha, but he's a role player who can't really be an alpha when you're playing 15 minutes.
I think Ty Rogers got that dog in him, but you're a freshman. It's really difficult to look at those guys and say, be that guy. And I think some of those guys are still acquiescing in the roles. 30 games into the season. It's tough because, listen, we turned over 85% of the production on the roster. And then when you factor in that Luke Goody hasn't played, I think it moves it to like 88%. And then, or 87 or whatever. And then you factor in RJ has not been the same player since Penn State. I think RJ's been really good like the past 3 games. He had some good minutes against Northwestern. He did get lost a couple times on defense. That everybody had against Boo Buie. He did get lost a couple times in the Ohio State game, but he didn't have a turnover. He had 5 points. He was 2 of 2 from the field. Had a couple boards. Like, he was a really solid role player on Sunday. But like, what I'm getting back is, like, you spent 3 weeks, a month of the season with that guy being a shell of himself, and you spent 2-3 months of the season without Luke Goody. So really, your only returning production you could count on was Coleman Hawkins. That's a tough thing to navigate as a college basketball team, and I thought we were past it. Frankly, I thought we were past some of this garbage. And I look at the Penn State game, and Jalen Pickett made shots that he just tip your hat to him. I don't think I watched him play the other night, and I was like,
yeah, how frustrating though is it to see Lundy go 0 for 14 from deep? And I'm like, it doesn't matter if that was an Illinois jersey out there, he'd be probably like 5 for 13 or something.
And wide open looks too towards the end of the game, because we'll talk about this in a second. If you were pulling for seeding, we were rooting for Penn State in that game.
Yep.
So like this is the game I look at it and I go, like, this was the performance, man. This was the one where since the Northwestern game, I'm just like, good gracious, guys, come on, man. Like, we have and
like you said though, they actually started out the first 2 minutes with tons of energy, steal after steal, had a chance to go up 7-0. I wonder if Coleman Hawkins makes that layup, if maybe the confidence in him jumps even more. And just to finish from this OSU game, I can tell you what, Coleman still, man, he's still hesitant when he has an open 3. He'd rather pump fake and try to drive. Even if I've noticed it twice. He hits a 3 and you think the next time, right? They work for him. Like, I think Terrence Shannon was pushed into a double team, and he was like welcoming it because he's like, Coleman's open. I'm gonna hit him at the top of the key here. He just hit a 3. What's Coleman do? Pump fake, and there was no one there, and drive. And I'm thinking,
he made.
And then and you remember this? I tweeted it. What'd he do? He pump fake, waited for Akpara to come get on him, and he faded away 17-footer that was all hit the side of the backboard and the side of the rim. It was just like, you passed up a wide open 3 for that. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that Robbie Hummels talks about week in, week out. And I don't know if you saw it or not, but I guess on Big Ten Today, Dave Revson and Hummel just kind of went off about how absurd and ridiculous it is that Illinois shoots so many threes. It's just they think it's just asinine, Yeah. And it's like, and they're not even good threes too. It's like,
I challenge that, dude. We'll go back and watch the games. The only guy who really takes bad threes. There's 2 guys who takes bad threes on this team, in my opinion, from a consistency standpoint. Well, Jaden Epps took one that was like, man, come on. But Coleman does it, but Coleman for some reason always gets the ball late in the shot clock. That's why that play he made against Northwestern was so impressive. But Meyer takes bad ones, but dude, he gets fouled or they go in. So really watch the game and see, like, is that a bad look? Now, I know most guys are saying we shoot so poorly. If you shoot it in less than 15 seconds in the shot clock and you're open, it's probably a bad three. But we haven't taken that. I don't think that we've taken that many bad threes.
We take a lot. I think when I say bad though, Kev, I think I think it's when Hummel and listen, if Hummel's saying it, I'll listen to him. I mean, I'm my own man, but I mean, the guy who played so long and he lives it, man. Like every day he's going to a new game, like, cause that's what he cares about. It's his life. So he's watching these games and he's like seeing that Illinois is taking the first three they can get after they just took two bad ones. It's like, that's the problem. Maybe when you said volume, it's maybe you miss a good one. That's fine. Well, the next time down, Meyer will jack a bad one. Okay. So what happened on Sunday that really irked Brad Underwood, I guess he said he yanked Shannon out of the game. They had just taken 2 threes in a row and bricked them both. And Meyer had just missed one really badly. It was one of those ones he due to step back, the guy in his face. Well, this is when Ohio State was pushing their lead out, and Shannon came right down with like 26 seconds and 25 seconds on the shot clock, hoisted up a 30-footer, bricked it, and then Ohio State goes down and scores, and it's a 10-point game. Yeah. He's like, why are we shooting 27,000 threes? Those are the ones that it's like, and that happens about every game. So it's like they don't make the other team work. And my biggest problem is when you get teams with foul trouble. Let's think about this. Even against Minnesota, without Shannon, they had 2 guys with 4 fouls. And what were we doing? Shooting threes. Mm-hmm. Shooting threes. What were we doing against Northwestern? Shooting threes. It brought us back. But yesterday, shooting threes, and Ohio State's getting that lead up because we're shooting threes. And it's to me, it's like you got to take advantage of the other team's foul problems and foul trouble. So, Kevin, it sounds like after Brad's press conference, he said, I usually give my teams the green light, but I'm really close to ending that. Do you think it's time for them to maybe focus on something that they might lead the Big Ten in 2-point field goal percentage?
Yeah, I've thought that for a while. I've also thought it's their benefit to get downhill and get some fouls called, get some rhythm at the line. We shot 31 free throws against Texas. It's that's probably one of the best games we looked at the season. We did shoot well from 3, but a lot of that was Matt Meyer, 5 for 5 from that game. I do think that is what this team needs to be: is get downhill, get to the rim, better production from Dane. I want to say something about Coleman Hawkins though. He hit 3 threes. I think it was against Minnesota. 3 or 4 were off the dribble. Like he not necessarily like dribbled then shot, but like just put the ball on the floor one time and then shot. I think that might be something for him. Like he might need to like get set instead of and maybe hit a pump fake and hit a dribble, just sidestep and shoot a 3. That might be his rhythm, his timing mechanism.
Instead of like just catching and shooting.
Yes, where I think RJ is a catch and shoot guy. I think Luke is a catch and shoot guy. I think Jaden Shoney's a little bit of a catch and shoot guy. There was also, and listen, this is really, really petty of me, but man, that travel on Terrence Shannon made no freaking sense to me.
Yeah, I looked at the replay in slow-mo, and it looks like he dribbled before he put his foot down, right?
I just don't. There's so many travels that happen. I mean, Jalen Pickett travels 47 times a game. There's just so many travels that happen, especially in the post. I mean, I think Coleman travels about 90% of the time he touches the ball. And to call that one, it's 49-43. He was going to get a bucket. Like it's just mind-boggling to me. And I shouldn't even have brought it up because it made no flipping difference in the game. They wilted at the end. They had it at 53-52. And then,
I'm trying to remember. What was it? It was 53-52. And then
19-day run.
And then Ty Rogers or someone had really good defense on Suing. And then 2 guys stood under the rim and allowed him to get his putback. Like Suing to me. Yes, to me, that's what Suing gets these garbage buckets. It's like, I know I say these things and you say these things, and it's like it's a lot easier to say it to stop somebody. But when you have guys that are just as big and they're better athletes, they're better athletes or just as good athletes, and he's going to try to bully you, and you turn and use his left hand. To me, it's like it's so predictable and that's what he does. He barely makes jumpers. He came in, tried to bully. He misses, an easy 8-footer. And then guess what? Ty Rogers goes under the rim because he bodies it into him, gets his little putback, and then we're off to the races. And that's when they turn it over. And Matthew Meyer got dunked on by Bryce Sensabaugh, and which was just filthy. And while Meyer did have some very good defensive plays yesterday, he blocked a few shots. It was ironic that he still got abused a few times too. I love the confidence that he said he's the best defender in the Big Ten this year, or whatever.
When was that said though? Like I don't know. When was that said?
I love that he said that though on the journey. Who knows when he said that?
Okay.
But it was like yesterday was definitely not one of his better defensive performances. But and then they hit a 3, and then it's bam, and it was over. But you get that rebound off the ensuing miss, it's still a 1-point game. Who knows what happens? But I think we're both in agreement here. To me, if they're open, I have no problem with the guys shooting because we know RJ can shoot. We know Luke Goody can shoot. We know Epps can hit an open shot. We know Hawkins can hit an open shot. And we know Meyer and Shannon can hit some tough ones. So I don't mind them shooting threes. But is it off penetration? Is it off Dane Danger getting guys to draw them into a double team? Is it?
The other thing I would like to see guys cut more. Like we have guys that drive, and there's abilities to cut and be open. And Meyer hit Hunts for a nice little lay-in against Northwestern on that game, and I see it oftentimes like guys will just camp out at the 3-point line when a guy starts driving. I would like to see guys like RJ Coleman, Terrence. If somebody's driving the bucket, like go cut, because that's when you can catch teams in rotations, and maybe you don't get a pass for a bucket, but you can catch teams out of rotations, and we can get a more wide open look, on the key, at the top of the key or the wing or even in the corner. So yeah, it's time to. It really is. I like hearing Brad say that. I do believe the dude can make adjustments. He makes adjustments all the time. And now we have to focus on. Listen, we had a chance at winning the conference, and I'm like, yeah, right. Purdue's gonna beat Wisconsin. Now it's to focus on where we're going to be at in the tourney, and that's the one that bothered me the most. And I'm really focused on the tourney this year. I'd love to see us make it second again. It's my favorite sporting event in the world. And I know a lot of Illinois fans are like convinced we're on the 8-9 line right now, and
I think we're a 7. Honestly,
we're 7. Most of the brackets still have us, like the bracket matrix have us on 7, but that's teetering awful close to that 8. We'd love to be in that bottom half of the bracket. What I mean by the bottom half, for those that don't understand, is that's that 6, 7, 10, 11, and we're not really in jeopardy of being 11 unless we lose out, and that could put us at 10 or 11. We really like to be on that 6, 7 line if you can, to avoid the 1 seed in the second round, because in my opinion, the difference between the 2 seeds and even up to a 5 seed this year is minimal, right?
The difference between Alabama, Kansas, Houston, and let's say Marquette is a big deal.
It's huge to me. I think Marquette's a pretty good team. I think that they can score really well, and so that's a team that would give us problems if you want.
But if you said, do you want to guard Brandon Miller or
Tyler
you want or do you want to grab? I mean, if you had to choose between Marquette and Alabama, who are you picking?
I'm taking Marquette all day long.
Yeah, and is that a team you don't think Illinois could outscore if they had to? I mean, I think they could.
I think our length could cause problems and slow them down enough to on the defensive end. Yeah, I do. But that's one of those things. Yeah, you look at like a Kansas State. Could they be on a 2 or a 3 line? And it's like, I'll take that. I mean, I think they're pretty good. But
even UCLA or Texas, could Illinois compete with one of them?
Yeah, we've done it before.
So that's what I'm saying. So there is a big difference.
Right. So you want to stay off that 8-9 line. And so the way to do that right now, and then the Big Ten tournament seeding is a little bit weird. I think we could talk about that. You talked that we would.
We are going to.
Right.
The next thing I wanted to talk about, well, you want to do the seeding? I was going to talk, I wanted to talk just for a minute about the folks that are still on Brad Underwood's ass, but who are wanting to just.
Listen, you can talk about it all you want. look at the what he inherited and where he's at, we're the winningest team in the conference in the last 4 years. And well, he had Kofi and Io. Well, who brought Kofi and Io here? Well, Chin and got Io. Well, who hired Chin? Who hired these guys to bring these guys in? Yeah, we have a really talented roster. As a matter of fact, I think at some point in time somebody said the only three-star we play is Coleman Hawkins, other than Brandon Lee. Yeah, who brought those guys in here? He's done a really good job. We're going to go to the tournament again, which would be our 4th straight year. If you look at the metrics, that would put us like in the top 15 in the NCAA, most likely tournaments. Even 3 would put us in the top 15, top 20. Now next year's a different story. He's got to get there. I think Brad Underwood's a really good coach. You look at the Big Ten coaches that were hired at the same time as him, Chris Holtman and Archie Miller. You want their success? Oh, by the way, Chris Holtman has not been to a Sweet 16 with Ohio State, a guy who inherited Jayshawn Tate and Keita Bates-Diop, guys who are making big money in the NBA right now. And
you know how many Big Ten trophies Chris Holtman has?
Exactly 0, right? So that's the point here is that and Archie Miller is not working right now. So you be careful what you
He's
wish
coaching
for.
a 9-win Rhode Island team, but it's okay.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
Same thing, but yeah.
And I think Archie's a good coach. I think Holtman's a pretty good coach. That's what you're going to deal with, you want so.
And who is the winningest coach, Kevin, in the last 5 Big Ten seasons?
It's Brad Underwood, yeah.
It's Brad Underwood,
and a little bit of a comfortable margin here, above Matt Painter,
above. He's got 4 more wins than Matt Painter does. So it's not all Kofi and Io. I just want everybody to know that it's not all Kofi and Io because
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who brought those freaking guys here. Like he got them. He got Io to commit to a poverty program. He got Io DeSumo to come to a program that was in the shitter, man. Like, dude, he got Kofi Coburn to commit after we lost. Was it FAU?
Yeah, it was FAU at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at my buddy Phil Adams' bachelor party. What's up, Phil? No, his wedding. Never mind.
Kofi said he came to Illinois because he saw that they needed him.
Yeah, it's just like
and look at this. And even though Andre Curbelo left the program, he was a stud his 2 years at Illinois. He helped Illinois win those things. And for goodness sake, even though he didn't recruit Trent Frazier, he kept Trent at Illinois, and Trent put up a legendary career, and everything that's happened to Brad Underwood, he has deserved. He has put the hard work in, and that's why he deserves more love because 100%. I think it's always, and at the end of the day, there's only 2 coaches in the Big Ten over the last 4 years that have won 2 Big Ten titles, and their names are Greg Gard and Brad Underwood. Okay, and
Underwood 100 times out of 100 over Greg Gard.
Yep. And obviously
Greg Gard after next year might find himself on the unemployment line.
Yeah. and here's something else I want to say. Oklahoma State has been to 1 NCAA tournament since Brad left. Yep. 1 NCAA tournament and 6.
They better figure out a way to beat Baylor tonight, or that number might stay there.
Yeah, 6 seasons, 1 tournament, and that was
under 4 to go. So
that was with Cade Cunningham, by the way. And with all that said, I know people are like, it's his team. He's letting them shoot threes. He doesn't know how to adjust. I mean, to me, if your worst year at Illinois is going to be a 20 win, 11 win, 20 total win, 21 to win, 11 Big Ten win, 7 seed in the NCAA tournament, if that's his low heading in, going through his, journey here at Illinois as the winning his, then guess what? I'll sign up for that every year.
Yep.
Okay. Because that's, what we were used to for almost a decade? Nothing.
Yeah. Living on the bubble, just hoping to make the tournament, man.
Yeah. 7 seasons they missed the tournament.
And
we were ridiculous.
We were begging for a bubble. We were begging for a bubble. Like the last time we saw a seed of below a 4 or better was 2005.
And it's and the last thing I'll say about this, it's a good problem to have when we're expecting trophies now every year, right? It's like you go from.
I'll stand behind it. I don't think that's what Illinois Nation wants. I don't think that's what Illini Nation's about anymore. Illini Nation wants to say, dude, this all goes away if Brad Underwood can find a way to win two games in the NCAA tournament. I swear, everybody will forget about now. We'll be upset when we lose in the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 or whatever that may be. That's all this fandom wants is a second weekend, and there's still a chance to do it because Illinois presents a lot of problems. I listen to national broadcasts all the time, and people say, "Dude, if Illinois is on that 8-9 line, there are teams on that one line that are like, because if Illinois plays their best, they can beat anybody. Now, if Illinois plays bad, they can lose to just about anybody too."
It's Jekyll and Hyde because they could lose the 8-9 game and they could be in the Sweet 16. So it's
if you're in the Sweet 16 and 8-9, you can make the Elite 8 pretty damn easy.
Yeah, a lot easier for sure. Yeah. But so we'll just go ahead and do the Big Ten tournament seeding scenario here, and then we'll give our final thoughts for the night.
Yeah,
and we'll explain, Kev. I guess I can go to it, and then you jump on, and we'll jump to it. So basically, as I mentioned earlier, Illinois right now is in the 6th spot, but a lot's going to change, and a big game to keep an eye on for everybody watching. And Kev is Nebraska and Michigan State. So you might ask why we're going to be rooting for Keisei Tominaga, and that is because he's a baller and he's fun to watch, but also because if Nebraska beats Michigan State, Illinois beating Michigan will automatically guarantee Illinois the 7 seed.
Correct.
At least. And that is because Michigan State cannot reschedule their Minnesota game. So no matter what they do, they could not equate to 11 wins no matter what. And Illinois also had the tiebreaker over them. But what can happen is if Michigan State beats Nebraska and Michigan State beats Ohio State on Sunday, would be 11-8 is their final tally. And Illinois would be 11-9. So by percentages, Michigan State would be the 7 and Illinois would be the 8. So that's a big one to watch. Also, what other game? Rutgers is the other team you want to watch because Illinois has a tiebreaker scenario over them. And that is if Rutgers loses to Minnesota at the barn. I think it's either Tuesday or Wednesday. Wednesday, I believe. That would bump them to 11-9 is as good as a record they could have, and Illinois will have the tiebreaker there. Or the season finale at home against Northwestern, which I think Northwestern is going to be a pissed off bunch, and I think that's a highly possible scenario for Northwestern to win that game. But so there's really 3 games to watch that are going to affect if Illinois is the 7 or the 8 seed.
Yeah, so Ohio State or Maryland could come into play, but I don't think so.
Maryland, but here's the thing too: if Maryland, they only have 7 losses right now, and they have the tiebreaker over us. So, yeah, that's really not going to come into a factor. It's really just Rutgers and Michigan State. So, and look, if Michigan State could lose at home to Ohio State too, that's another one. But that's going to be senior night at the Breslin. You know how that goes. So, again, there's still 3 opportunities.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's pretty much
like Illinois beats Purdue, they could be on the 4.
And I don't want to come up here and say that I think they're going to lose to Purdue, but I think that's going to be such a tall, tough task after they got embarrassed at home by their rival. And then Mason Gillis made an ass of himself with the pregame warm-up. You know, like they went over into the Indiana warm-ups while they were trying to warm up, and they were in the free throw line and pretending like they're shooting free throws. And then they got punked at home. So, and who knows, too? They've already clinched the Big Ten title. Who knows how their attitudes are going to be? But there's at least 3 or 4 different game scenarios that Illinois could be the 7 seed. But if Illinois is the 8 seed, it will for sure be against Michigan, it sounds like. So,
most likely, yes.
Most likely. So that's what's going on there. And, of course, you'd rather not be in the 8-9 game. I'd rather be in the 7-10 against Nebraska probably. If Nebraska beats Michigan State Tuesday, it's really almost a sure thing that Nebraska is going to get out of that Weakling Wednesday, man. How about that, Kev?
Yeah. Yeah, they were 5-1 or 5 or 6-1 in February. They were
so like they pushed themselves to a winning record and like the 10 seed in the Big Ten. What you know what? And I'm going to tweet about this, Kev. Fran Fischel is always on there talking about his Big 12 and the 10th place team in the Big 12, Oklahoma State's a bubble team. Well, let me just tell you, the 11th and 12th place team in the Big 10 are bubble teams too. Wisconsin and Penn State are the 11th and 12th place teams right now. And they are bubble teams. So while I think the top 4 in the Big 12, top 3 are way better than the top 3 or 4 in the Big 10, I think overall depth-wise, the Big 10 actually has more toughness in the middle to back end than the Big 12. And that's just – you can't really argue when your 12th place team is a bubble team.
Well,
I mean, it's kind of –
yeah, Fran Fischel said something the other day. He's like, oh, well, we're begging, if you were, if any seed line you were on that you saw a Big 12 team, you would be scared of it. And I'm like,
no,
I'd love to see Iowa State.
Yeah, come on, bring Iowa State on. Let's do it.
TCU scares me a little bit with Miles, but Kansas State.
Illinois already beat Texas. I honestly wouldn't be if Illinois played Texas in the second round. Let's say it's a 2-7 and they get Texas again. I'll know that's a tough team. Am I going to sit here and be like, oh my God, we're out this year? Nope. So
we'll be back. We'll be back on Sunday, and we'll be able to talk a lot about where Sunday. We'll focus more on the overall NCAA tournament. What we need to do between now and then is we need to go 1-1. You have to beat Michigan on Thursday night. And
you have to. And while I want you all to, I'm not. If Illinois were to lose out, they're still going to be in the tournament. Like it's just not going to be good. It'd be a 10 or 11 seed. But to me, we'll get to a final thought here. But to me, Kev, is not my final thought. I'm going to let you start with that. To me, heading into that is, are Terrence Shannon and Meyer coming to senior night looking at it like they got something to prove with Michigan coming in and, the whole Terrence Shannon Michigan debacle,
Didn't think about that.
There's going to be a lot of fun there. Hunter Dickinson actually has never played in Champaign. I don't know if anybody knew that or not, because his freshman season, they didn't come. Remember, they didn't come to Champaign.
Yeah,
last year, he sat out with COVID. Okay. So this is Hunter Dickinson's first year of actually being here. So there's a lot there, and Michigan's going to be.
Is he going to be there?
What'd you say?
Is he going to be there?
I mean, I haven't heard anything about disciplinary stuff.
I don't get it. I don't get how you can look at that and not. I mean, it was a stomp.
It was a clear stomp, though. Who steps
like that? He looked right at him.
Yeah, he was stomping, but for some reason they just overlook it and don't.
Wait! Not only did he stomp on him. Hey, listen, man, you want to put yourself in the public eye? You got to expose yourself to scrutiny. By the way, preaching to the choir here. Nobody knows that better than you do. Like, he's on a podcast calling Wisconsin scumbags. Their coaches slap fought last year. You're in a game, you knock a guy down, you look at him, and you try to stomp on him. I'm like, I don't understand how the Big Ten can look at this and be like, you're not suspended. And listen, I want Hunter Dickinson to play. I don't want to play him shorthanded. I don't want any freaking excuses. I don't want any of that garbage. I want Illinois to play him and beat their ass. Like, but I'm sorry. Like, that, if Alan Griffin's love tap of Stefanovich's chest warrants a 2-game suspension, what Hunter Dickinson did warrants a suspension. It doesn't make any freaking sense. And we've seen it. Illinois got the gift of 2 kind of really questionable technicals the past couple games after Coleman got the questionable technical against Indiana. I don't know that kid who blocked Ty Rogers' shot deserved a technical. I thought that was soft. And I don't know that the one we got for Northwestern, I thought that one was soft. Or was it Minnesota? I don't remember. It was Minnesota. It was Joseph or whatever.
I completely agree about the stomping, and it was clear. And Alan Griffin got suspended 2 games for his. And to me, even if he didn't get full contact of the shoe, that's worth at least a game. But it's okay. Bring him to town. Another thing, final home game of the year for the rest of the team. Do you want to come out for a third straight game third straight game and be lethargic and let the other team just push you around, and like dictate the game. Like, is that really what it's going to be? Because I just find it so hard to believe that that's what's going to happen. So, and while Michigan might have Jet Howard back, they do have some good guys. Buffkin, I like.
Is Howard going to be back?
They still have. What'd you say?
Is Howard going to be back, you think?
He was day-to-day against Michigan, against Wisconsin.
Okay.
I think he will be back, but either way, it's a young team. They're not really athletic at all. I like Harris off their bench. He's a big stud. But to me, too, it's, are they going to be making shots? Is Danger going to show up, too? Because if he shows up, we don't need a double Hunter. I'm not going to double Hunter. Make him show you he can beat you at least 3 or 4 times before you start doubling.
Yeah, make him take a half hook 8 to 10 feet from the rim. It's fine.
Yeah, and he'll make a couple of them, but he's also going to miss 3 or 4 of them. Yeah. And then it's make those young guards beat you. Like Doug McDaniel's tough, but he's still raw. And I could see Harris shutting him down. To be honest with you.
I agree.
So I like us. I will be shocked if they come out flat again. And the energy should be through the roof. It's Michigan. You already know the Orange Crush is going to have so many Hunter Dickinson heads. It's going to be nuts.
Absolutely.
So I'll let you finish with your final thought. So my final thought is big week. Take care of Michigan. I think the 7 seed for the Big Ten tournament's where Illinois lands. While I'm disappointed, I'm still hopeful and positive about where the team can go. I'm not to where, many fans are of already just being disappointed and saying the season's a failure, blah, blah. I can see where we were 5 years ago and where we are now. And I'm comfortable. I'm cool. I also know who's coming next year too. So we got some good players coming. Okay. Anywho. All right, Mr. Kevin Ducey, your final thought.
Just beat Michigan. And that's all there is to it. Come out with hair on fire. Beat Michigan. Take what you did on Sunday as a sign of disrespect. Get out there, bust your ass. We'll also listen. We didn't talk much about it. The women. I'm excited to see what they're going to do in the Big Ten.
Oh yeah.
And we don't.
Sunday we're going to be focusing a lot on them because their Big Ten tournament's going to be done, and they're definitely going to be in the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Excited to see the way they bounce back with a couple injuries, but just handle business against Michigan, and then you just lay it all on the line against Purdue. You just play like a bunch of madmen. Just go out there and be crazy because you got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
I'm thinking we try to get a bracketologist on here on Sunday.
It's a little bit difficult to get the guys we want.
You know what? I can't believe Brad Evans wants to big time us because I've actually emailed him and tweeted at him, and he seems to be like a down to earth, cool dude.
Just drive over and holler at him.
What'd you say?
Just drive over to Muhammad and holler at him.
Yeah. He lives in Muhammad. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was class of '96 from Champaign Centennial. I'm pretty sure, just like I was Urbana. I'm pretty sure I met that.
I just thought I thought since he's for Bally now and he does some of those bigger shows that you see that he doesn't live in Muhammad, but
no, he recently moved to Muhammad, man. Brad's first class all the way around, but dude, he gets asked to be in a lot of places, so it's a little bit difficult. But I've got a couple other guys we'll reach out to see if we can't get a Brad.
Yeah, there's a couple really good follows that I think we could get on, like the T3 Bracketology. There's Warner. There's a couple other ones.
803.
Yeah. So we'll get a bracketologist on, someone close within the bracket matrix, I think, and I trust that a lot. I like the bracket matrix. So, with that said, pay attention to your Big Ten games this week because it will affect the seeding. Remember Nebraska, Michigan State tomorrow. Can't forget Illinois, Michigan Thursday. Should be a fun week, Kev. I'm looking forward to a Sunday night episode of Illinois. We'll know where they're going to be for the Chicago Big Ten tournament. So let's hey, positive, good vibes. The program is trending still in a positive direction. It was not a happy Sunday, but you know what? If we dwell on the last game every game, you already got beat. You can't get beat. You can't let the last game beat you for your next game. So that's my final thought. Swallow me out.
ILL.